Welcome to the motivated.Tech podcast, brought to you by Jordan Nuance LLC and hosted by Dr. Renee Jordan. This podcast is a accumulation of Dr. Jordan's dissertation work and her passion for empowering Latinas, Afro-Latinas, Black women, and girls to navigate the academic and professional worlds with confidence and success. Whether you're a mother or guardian guiding a child through grades 6 through 12, an undergrad or grad student, someone working on a dissertation or thesis, or simply looking to carve out your niche in the career landscape, this podcast is for you. Each episode, Dr. Jordan shares her story, offers invaluable advice, and provides practical coaching to help you thrive in school, work, and beyond. Join our community on patreon.com/BlackLiberationTech and become a member for as low as $5 per month. As a member, you'll gain exclusive access to live recordings, impromptu academic and career coaching, and a network of like-minded individuals committed to mutual support and success. You're also welcome to follow Black Liberation Tech on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Visit black-liberation.tech for even more information on Dr. Jordan's adventure in Inglés o Español. Tune in, get inspired, and let's embark on this journey together. Welcome to black-liberation.tech, where your success story begins. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the black-liberation.tech podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Renee Jordan, and today we are going to take a look at AI as your assistant. And for the sake of conversation, I'm going to go through one of the lessons from the black-liberation.tech site. So you go there, you go to lessons, and the lesson I'm going to take a look at will be lesson C 4.2, taking one step at a time and staying persistent. And the reason I'm going to take a look at this particular lesson is because I got a couple of questions about someone who is entering into the tech field and wanted to know how to get started, where can they begin, and what are some things that they can do in order to keep themselves from feeling overwhelmed as a result of entering in a field that has so many possibilities, options, and opportunities. And so I'm going to demonstrate one of the ways that you can help yourself in terms of not breaking, let's say, projects down into smaller, manageable parts so that you don't feel overwhelmed. And I'm going to do that example and use my own personal interest and information in terms of things that I'm working on to help serve as an example so that when you look at the lesson, you can walk through it based on your information and say, well, this is what Dr. Jordan said, and this is what she's entered, but you know what? I'm interested in X, Y, and Z. So that's how I'm going to approach the matter. So to get started, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that those who are in my Patreon can see it. If you're not in my Patreon, then you will have to wait until I post it on YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Instagram and Facebook. So I'm going to clean up my windows and open up a new conversation so that it will be ready to go when I am. All right, so I'm going to start from the home page. Go ahead and share. I'm going to share this window here. So this is the black-liberation.tech homepage. As you can see here, I have my artwork that is displayed on my site. And so it gives an overview here. It lets you know that you can either search the website or you can explore the site as you see fit. If you're looking for something that's more structured, you can go to the lessons. So you can go to the lessons by clicking here, or you can go to the lessons by going to the top menu bar. Please note, this website also comes in Español. So feel free to make good use of that as well. So I'm going to go to lessons. And here we have the career lessons. So I have the career lessons built out. Feel free to leave me questions and comments about any of those. The next set of lessons that I'm working on deal with interactions. And so right now I just have this one lesson ready to go for the interactions. But like I said, we're going to go to a career lesson, and specifically this one here, taking one step at a time and staying persistent. Now, before I click there, I start off this series of lessons here with a story that was generated as a result of insights from my contributors, as well as prompt engineering done by me. And then the output was produced by ChatGPT, and I did some editing. So here we have Tia and Dominique, respectively. And so we're going to take a look at their conversation to get us started, and then I'm going to jump down to the other lessons. So here is the dialogue between Tia and Dominique. Story time. So here we go. Empowering digital futures. Tia and Dominique's journey from resilience to tech impact. Tia leaned back in her chair, her hands cradling a warm cup of matcha. You know, she began, her voice animated. I didn't always think I'd end up where I am today. I mean, I started off as a computer science major, thought it was the way to go. Everyone around me said, tech is the future. Tia, you gotta get into it. She paused, a flicker of frustration crossing her face. But when I actually got there, it was a different story. I felt so isolated. Barely saw anyone who looked like me, and support practically non-existent. Dominique, who had been listening intently, nodded knowingly. I get that, she said quietly. My path was a bit unconventional too. I majored in literature, believe it or not, and for a long time, I was an executive assistant. People don't usually make the leap from reading Shakespeare to writing code. She gave a small laugh, her voice soft yet purposeful. But the corporate world felt flat. I needed something more challenging. Something that made me curious every day. Tia's eyes lit up. Curiosity. Yes, that's exactly it. You know, when I switched to business and digital marketing, it felt like I was finally tapping into my lane. Marketing, it's a whole different game. Creative, analytical, and so empowering in a digital sense. And teaching web development at my HBCU, that's where the magic happens for me. Dominique leaned forward, setting her latte down. You know, teaching, that's really special. I don't teach, but I do mentor. And for me, I wish someone had told me earlier just how powerful self-learning and community could be. I mean, I used to organize meetups for Latinas in tech. It was transformative. Watching young women walk in, unsure about pursuing a tech career, and then seeing them light up when they realized that they weren't alone. That's what it's about. Tia gave an enthusiastic nod. Exactly. Community matters. And you know what? Fear holds so many of us back. I used to be terrified of not being good enough. I compared myself to others constantly, but I realized we all have our lanes. You know, my lane is teaching beginners, making things understandable. And while someone else might be designing these super advanced systems, I'm here helping people take those first steps. We need all kinds. Dominique's gaze softened. I like that. Your lane, your strengths. It's funny because I used to feel like an imposter. Like, who was I, a literature major, to step into tech? But I leaned into my love for problem solving. Being a software engineer is about breaking problems down, seeing the creative side of code, and just staying curious. Tia tapped the table lightly for emphasis. Speaking of curiosity, you know what has worked for me? Being open-minded, like really open. Not just to new experiences, but also to people. Sometimes the best advice or tech hack comes from someone you'd never expect. It's like swimming, she said, laughing at her own analogy. You can't worry about who's lapping next to you. You have to focus on your strokes. Dominique chuckled. Yeah, that makes sense. And for me, I always tell women, find your community and ask questions. X is a gold mine, and so are tech meetups. And even if you're an introvert like me, there's always ways to learn and grow. Online communities, webinars, they help so much. It's about being willing to reach out and learn from others. I can't stress enough the value of just asking. Tia's expression grew thoughtful. That's one thing I'd like to tell the young women we're hoping to reach with this OER. Don't just learn for the sake of it. Build projects. Put your knowledge to use. It's so easy to get stuck in the cycle of learning without ever doing. And that's what holds so many of us back. Analysis paralysis. Dominique pointed in agreement. Yes, action. I wish someone had told me that too. It's okay to not have it all figured out. Tech is always evolving. I mean, even now, I stay up to date by working on side projects and following the tech community. But it's about taking one step at a time, not getting overwhelmed. They both paused, taking in each other's words. Tia's eyes shone with excitement. Our paths might be different, but there's so much overlap in what we've learned. Dominique smiled. Yeah, it all comes down to persistence, finding your community, and never being afraid to grow. We're proof of that. Tia raised her cup in a toast to empowering the next generation of women in tech. May they find their lanes, build their projects, and know they're never alone. Dominique clinked her latte mug with Tia's. Here's to that and to staying curious. All right, so that was the Empowering Digital Futures, Tia and Dominique's journey from resilience to tech impact. So now I'm going to take a step back and go to the lessons. So I can just close this because it opened up in a second window and go here to taking one step at a time and staying persistent. So here we have the lesson C 4.2. It is the finale, if you will, of the career exploration lessons. If you're new, just as an FYI, I generate these images and these lessons using ChatGPT unless stated otherwise. ChatGPT has an image generator, Dale-E, that I use in order to get images outside of the ones that I draw myself. So the character drawings that are in the thumbnails of the blog post and on the about page of I'll just jump there real quick. And on the about page, these are drawings that I've done with my iPad and uploaded them. And my nieces and my nephews actually named the characters. My boyfriend named one of them. And so I think their names fit them nicely. And so here again is the lesson. And we're going to start with the lesson 4. So this is what I'm supposed to do. Reflect on the following prompts and write out your responses. You will use them later on in the lesson. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to copy them into a Word document so that when I get to the ChatGPT portion, I can simply copy and paste them. So the first one, taking one step at a time, not getting overwhelmed. So step by step, write down one big tech goal you have, then break it into 5 small manageable steps. Enter how you will tackle each step without getting overwhelmed. Okay, so here we go. The one tech goal I have is so my one big tech goal is to create an open educational resource that includes a podcast, a website, social media platforms, and I'll put these social media platforms. Right now it's TikTok. That's where my largest audience can be found. And I'm going to say, if you're on TikTok, please follow me on YouTube, Instagram, and in other places. All right, so TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So it will include a podcast, a website, social media platforms. The next 2 levels will be a chat bot that provides advice and recommendations, and synchronous sessions. Okay, so the synchronous sessions, I'll put in parentheses, in person and live streaming. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to hop over to my Word document so you can see what I'm typing. Okay, so enter how you will tackle each without getting overwhelmed. So here are the steps I will take to keep myself from getting overwhelmed. So, 1, podcast will be pre-recorded in advance. That way I will not feel pressure to get out new episodes. And so I actually started recording the podcast in November of 2023 and launched it using RSS.com as the distributor in June 2024. Number 2 is the website. I launched the website in 2022 and it has a note that it is under construction so that people know that it's a work in progress. I work on the website as I have time, at least once per week. Now, I'll just make a note that I'm jumping back to the podcast piece. The pre-recorded episodes publish automatically once per week. Okay? And then today is November 20th, 2024. And I already have episodes in draft and ready to publish through the end of December 2024. I record new episodes every other week in order to stay ahead. So I'm actually going to move this part up. Stockpiling episodes helps. All right. So I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to check and see. So as far as the website is concerned, I launched the website in 2022 and it has a note that says that it is under construction. So people know that it's a work in progress. I work on the website as I have time, at least once per week. All right, the next part of this big project that I'm working on, the social media platforms. My social media posts are clips from the podcast that are a minute and a half to 2 minutes. I learn from the engagement of the clips which sections of the podcast are most relevant to my audience. I then convert the most engaging clips into YouTube shorts to give people an idea of the podcast in hopes of securing more subscriptions. All right, I have social media. All right, I have not started the chat bot. My goal is to use the podcast transcripts and the lessons from the website to create a chat bot that will give advice and recommendations on academic and career coaching. And with that being said, I think I need to back up and say the purpose of the OER. So the purpose of the OER is to provide academic and career coaching, as well as lessons that will help individuals develop, use, enhance, and advance their technology skills with the help of prompt engineering to tailor their experiences based on their needs and interest. All right. And I'll put AI in parentheses. Advice. So In order to keep myself from feeling overwhelmed, I plan to use a platform that does not require coding to create the chatbot and will limit responses to the data provided. Okay. And then the live sessions / in-person sessions, I plan to stream live sessions as my schedule allows so that I do not feel overwhelmed by committing to a specific time and place. When my schedule permits, I plan to schedule in-person sessions in advance with requested audiences and once a month at a local library as my schedule permits. I'm backing up to the social media post, and I hope you see that by me going back and forth, that it's okay not to do everything in a specific order. It's okay to jump around. It's okay to fill in things as you think about them, and don't feel locked in and pressured that you have to do things in order. So the social media piece, I'm going to say by using clips from the podcast, I prevent myself from feeling overwhelmed because I always have plenty of content. The podcast ranges anywhere from 10 to 45 minutes. I think there's one that's almost an hour, but I'll say the podcast ranges from 10 to 45 minutes. So I'm never short on content for social media posts. Okay. Thank you for tuning in to the BlackLiberation.Tech podcast, brought to you by Jordan Nuance LLC and hosted by Dr. Renee Jordan. We hope today's episode has inspired you and provided valuable insights to help you navigate your academic and professional journey with confidence and success. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, as well as rate and review the podcast to help it become more discoverable. Whether you're guiding a child through grades 6 through 12, tackling undergraduate or graduate studies, working on a dissertation or thesis, or exploring your career options, this podcast is here to support you every step of the way. Join our community on patreon.com/BlackLiberationTech and become a member for as low as $5 per month. As a member, you'll enjoy exclusive access to live recordings, impromptu academic and career coaching, and a network of like-minded individuals committed to mutual support and success. Don't forget to follow Black Liberation Tech on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Visit black-liberation.tech for even more information on Dr. Jordan's adventures, available in both English and Spanish. Stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep moving forward. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.